Welcome to episode 3 of the series where I attempt to redeem Sonic Lost World for 3DS. In this episode, we'll be taking a closer look at Skyroad 1, including attempts at refuting criticism directed by critics at this game. The episode is split into multiple videos, so feel free to watch the episode at your own pace without having to watch the whole episode in one sitting. Do check out the reviews themselves too if you want a comprehensive view of the quality of the reviews, since they are not only comprised of negative criticism against the game, and do contain at least some praise for the game. This video focuses on the negative criticism directed at this game, to help you viewers acknowledge that the criticism seems to be exaggerated. Remember though, the point of these videos is not to bash the reviewers, just redeeming this game, and perhaps some sort of guideline for reviewers in how to improve their craft. Another big purpose of this video series is to help you reviewers, and by extension the game developers, to achieve a more solid understanding of what makes an actual good Sonic game. There are other reasons as well, but I do not feel like mentioning those just yet. The episode is divided into the following parts: needed background, blind run, speed run, supersonic speed run, further background, Nintendo Live's review, so call me Johnny's review, Kavana Money 456's part, and lastly IGN. This video will cover both backgrounds and the runs. So before we get into the runs, I believe you should watch the following as evidence suggesting the importance of the speedrunning aspect in Sonic games.
そうですね、僕自身が速いものが好きだったっていうのもあるんですけれども、やはりゲームが上手くなったら早くクリアをしていくところができる方がいいんじゃないかっていうのが、その当時のゲームはですね、バックアップとかがなくてですね、セーブができないので、毎回ゲームを始めると一番最初から始めるんですね。今のゲームだと途中から始めることができるんですけど、昔は必ず一番最初から始まっていったので、そうすると一番最初のステージっていうのはもう何度も何度もやってくるんです。そうすると上手くなってくると、このステージはもっともっと早くクリアできた方が嬉しいんじゃないかっていうのが発想の一番大きな元になって、そのためにソニックは速くなっていったんですね。なのでそれで速いスピードの中でクリアしていくっていう、そこがマリオとかと大きな違いになるんじゃないかと思って作り上げました。
This stage is comprised of good level design. The first few times going through the stage, you want to get to the goal without dying too often, and explore the stage to its fullest, so you take it slower the first time. This includes landing on platforms without having to, in order to avoid dying. As you keep replaying the stage, you get more accustomed to how Sonic works in said level. You come to learn what different paths, items, etc. are available at any given moment, as well as what comes next and what you've already passed. If you find yourself progressing through the level with more fluidity and greater speeds, traversing more difficult paths, making use of more well-thought-out maneuvers compared to your first playthrough, which should feel rewarding, as it is a display of how you have developed and overcome all the challenges speedrunning gives rise to, combining creativity, skills, and determination to accomplish the challenging and beautiful feat of speedrunning. Here ends this video. I suggest the next video you watch is where I give myself Nintendo Life's review of this game. If you found this video informative and watchworthy, I'd really appreciate you liking and sharing this video. Welcome. In this video, I'll give my counter-arguments to a Nintendo Life's review, written by Thomas Whitehead. I chose Nintendo Life's review because it is part of Metacritic's review of this game, and has rated this game similarly. If you haven't watched the previous parts of this episode, then I strongly advise you to do so. Quote, "At times, the level design falls over in a significant way. We've met a number of roadblocks that required a rest and approach with a fresh mind at a later hour. Some puzzles or enemy challenges can be taxing on any gamer's patience. We've encountered near impossible chasms requiring ludicrous gymnastics if you mess up in an initial series of homing attacks, a sequence of rolling snowballs, while responding enemies bully the blur, and a snowboarding level with controls that bizarrely feel as if they're operating on a digital, not analog set of inputs. While not representative of the whole experience, stages such as these, and others that feel like over-enthusiastic labyrinths of no end, have a damaging effect on the wider campaign." Unquote. Chasms means pits, as far as I know. If so, this complaint is not applicable to this stage. There are barely any pits at all, and the few that do exist aren't easy to fall into either. If you found anything counter to what I'm stating, then leave what you have to say in the comment below. Every flipper section could be an example of a supposed over-enthusiastic labyrinth with no end, because there are 3 of them, and some players seem to think they are over-enthusiastic in the player's ability to solve each of them. However, since one is launched just below the ledge of the upper path and not directly on the upper path, why not try using parkour or the double jump? Since parkour doesn't work automatically, try the double jump. Even if you don't directly reach all the way up with the double jump, there is the safety net of the double jump allowing you to parkour up the wall of the upper ground. There is also ledge climbing that works without parkour. If I missed any other sections like this in the stage, please point them out. Next quote. One similarity with its Wii U brethren, however, is that we question whether younger gamers will be able to handle the maneuvers and skills required, especially in the aforementioned stages that are poorly designed. Unquote. I think every section in this stage can be traversed in a straightforward manner, with a possible exception for the flipper section, and maybe the straight flying birds. I could imagine children stubbornly trying to launch themselves to the right place using the flipper only, without a double jump. Maybe a question mark or hint should appear after having used the same uppermost flipper 10 times, but explains that one can use the double jump when using the flipper. The bird bot issue can perhaps be solved by a hint saying that one can exit the stage, equip an invincibility item in the map, and then get back to the stage and equip the item in this section. If I missed any other ways children would not enter the stage, please point them out. Next quote. Overall, the campaign veers from decent moments to drawn-out stages that exasperate rather than satisfy, and competitionists can seek out red coins and target better grades in each level, but we suspect most would just be happy to see the end of some more confusing and agitating levels. Therein lies the great flaw with this effort from Dimps. Too much of the game simply isn't fun. Unquote. This stage isn't unnecessarily drawn up, right? It's satisfactory. Red Rings equals new stages if you didn't know. Apart from the flipper sections, this stage doesn't seem to be confusing nor agitating. This stage is fun. Growth. Unfortunately, this is a title riddled with poorly designed stages, or in some cases, areas of stages. These issues vary in form, whether with sudden deaths, cruel one-shot combos, or unforgivably tedious stages that barely resemble the Sonic game at all, but instead rely upon unimaginative subtasks in open areas before progress is allowed, throwing fiddly controls that, though workable for experienced gamers, intimidate younger or less experienced gamers, and this is a Sonic adventure that comes across as a hodgepodge of ideas, some of which shouldn't have made it past the concept stage, unquote. This stage is not poorly designed, but with all the fun challenge and experience it provides. Both the blind run and speedrun, but especially so the speedrun, I could neither find any sudden deaths nor any cruel one-shot combos. So if you know of any, please point them out in the comment. Not tedious, except maybe in the flipper sections. The speedy platforming makes it seem well suited to being in a Sonic game. You can't come up with open areas and imaginative subplots to proceed, except for a few ones bordering on that, or to that when it comes to killing a number of enemies, but barely board quick, as these enemy hordes are fairly quickly killed if one uses methods such as the charged homing attack and multi-target homing. The charged homing attack should come as second nature by the time I play the stage, which is almost at the end of the game. Some may consider the flipper sections tedious and unimaginative. Flippers are easy. Surely you can time a jump just like any other platforming jump. You can even use a double jump to ensure you end up right where you want to. As for the flipper sections being unimaginative, you can combine flippers, double jumps, and wall parkouring to flip all the question mark thoughts in a fast and cool manner through mastery and flow. As for the controls being fiddly, there are numerous safety nets if one fails or dies, and there aren't any over-enthusiastic sections where unimaginable controls are needed, as far as I'm able to think of. So this part of the game is not some bad hodgepodge of ideas. Quote, Sonic Lost World on the 3DS has glimpses of excellence, but these flashes are overwhelmed by numerous mediocre stages and a few that are poorly designed and, as a result, too taxing to encourage enjoyment. Unquote. The stage is neither mediocre nor poorly designed, thus not too taxing to encourage enjoyment. Here ends this video. The next video you watch, I think, should be the video where I give my response to Some Call Me Johnny's review of this game. If you found this video informative and watch-worthy, I'd really appreciate you liking and sharing this video.
Welcome. In this video, I will give my response to Some Call Me Johnny's review of this game. If you haven't watched the previous parts of this episode, then I strongly advise you to do so. He says, and I quote, "As soon as we head into Tropical Coast, the first issue with the level design slowly reveals its ugly self. The levels start getting too fucking long, and as soon as we head into Frozen Factory, the levels start getting really fucking long. Levels become tiring, and we'll be getting hand cramps so we can easily agitate it." Unquote. A proper blind run of this stage should take little less than 7 minutes, and with proper I mean to, unlike Kobe's chatty streaming playthrough of this stage, be more present in this game's mechanics and whatnot. If one wants to chat and play simultaneously, by all means the person should go ahead and chat and play at the same time, but one shouldn't blame the game too easily when one finds oneself lost. A speedrun of this stage should take about 3 minutes with a good amount of mastery. To put this into perspective, a good chunk of Sonic stages in Adventure 2 take between 1 and 2 minutes with quite a lot of skill. Unleashed daytime stages take about 2 minutes each with a rather large amount of skill, so I don't see reason to believe this stage is too long. Quote, "And that is where the second issue with level design will begin to take its course. The shit the game requires you to do in order to complete certain levels, not just certain tasks, and also the repetition of it all. It forces you to stop all of the downtime to flick switches, kill a certain amount of enemies, or deal with awkward controls for certain power-ups, just when you want the level to end." Unquote. In this stage, the speedrun contained no or next to no switches. The blind run probably contained a switch or two, but definitely not repeated to an extent so as to become annoying or borderline unbearable. Speedrun paths don't contain enemy arenas, so not the objective of killing enemies there. A few instances of enemy hordes in the Bloodrun though, but those can be wrapped up too quickly for them to be considered boringly repetitive. This is because you generally only need one multiplied and charged homing attack or two to kill those 6 egg palms, and the strict flying birds only need to be baited to the ground where they are both vulnerable to the homing attack and within reach. The only power-up this stage seems to contain is the laser. The laser doesn't feel awkward, it's responsive, doesn't require gyro, and it's very flexible in how it can be used and cancelled. He says, quote, "Focus lies on marathon levels, an insane amount of monotony, too many instances of trial and error." Unquote. This stage doesn't comprise few things that are dried out to fit an entire stage. Rail sections, momentum-based leaps, the laser with sticky wheels, parkour, the precision sensor, and sets of enemies. So I don't think this stage is monotonous. As for trial and error, it's oftentimes nowhere near the degree where errors mean death. Quote, "This isn't even including the numerous do-or-die situations the second half of the game is played with. Tons of areas where using parkour over boundless pits is mandatory. A shitload of areas where whisk powers are mandatory in order to complete levels or die trying." Unquote. While true of a later flipper section in the stage, none of the other do-or-die situations are likely to kill you. The stage has the laser, which makes using it correctly a breeze. Here it's this video. The next video you should watch, I think, should be the video where I give my response to the criticism of both Kobani Money 456 and IGN. If you found this video informative and watchworthy, I'd really appreciate you liking and sharing this video. Welcome. In this video, I will give my response to the criticism of Kobani Money 456 and IGN. If you haven't watched the previous parts of this episode, then I strongly advise you to do so. First off, let's look at Kobani Money 456's criticism of this game. He becomes stuck in the flipper section because he doesn't know what to do. I gave a similar response to Nintendo Life, but in case you haven't watched the video on Nintendo Life, I'll mention this again. One solution that becomes more obvious the more you play it around the place is to flip all the question mark slots. This is because the higher the number that are flipped, the more blocks on the side and on the top vanish. Because you can go beyond the blocks on the right to the wisp, why should you not be able to go beyond the blocks upwards? That's pretty much the only path that goes anywhere except where one came from. However, since one is launched just below the ledge of the upper path and not directly on the upper path, why not try using parkour with the double jump? Since parkour doesn't work automatically, try the double jump. Even if you don't directly reach all the way up with the double jump, there is the safety net of the double jump allowing you to parkour up the wall of the upper ground. There is also ledge climbing that works without parkour. Now that I've addressed Kobani Money 456, I'll move on to Jose Otero's review on IGN. Otero writes, and I quote, "Galaxy largely gives us freedom to explore and platform through carefully constructed levels at our own pace. By comparison, the idea of firing a hedgehog out of a slingshot as he tries to navigate fragmented terrain at high speeds feels misguided. To Lostworm's credit, a few stages managed to achieve this tall order, but the majority failed to capture that Mario magic." Unquote. Locking pace. The thing everyone complains makes Sonic too similar to Mario. With locking pace, one is very unlikely to feel so uncontrollable. However, the blind run doesn't suggest the stage's fragmented design to feel unsuited to Sonic's style of gameplay. There aren't many blocky starts and stops. Quote, "Sonic's sensation of speed is mostly intact and most stages look impressive, but Sonic Lost World stumbles due to poor level design. Pathways don't always make sense, and all the momentum building tools in the world won't save a game from so many awkward stops and stops. The level design for this stage is poor if one considers all the enjoyable aspects this stage is comprised of. I agree though that flipper section may have benefited from a question mark explaining how flipper sections work, or that one should need to double jump when launched from the flipper to parkour, that it should perhaps happen just by hitting a wall launched by a flipper.
Although it's possible the game developers consciously made progressing through the flipper sections more difficult by breaking some patterns but not all patterns. The pattern that would be broken would be to not be able to parkour automatically when launched on a wall. But a pattern not broken would be that one had nowhere to go but up. So one way or another one had to get all the way up. What is meant with pathways not making sense could be that one can't run up some walls, or that the slower-paced 3D sections with their supposed narrow camera angle makes it difficult for the player to make sense of his or her situation to know how to move forward. Aside from the burnout sections that can be considered to be just shy of awkward stops, I can't find any awkward stops and stops. If anyone's watching this knows of such instances at this stage, then go ahead and point it out to me in a comment. And here is the last part of this 4-part series of trying to redeem Skyrim 1 of Sonic Bells from 3DS. I hope you learned a number of things from these videos, and I hope you look forward to my next episode where I'll be redeeming Silent Forest 3. If you found this series informative and worthy of watching, I'd really appreciate you liking and sharing this video. Also, if you want to be notified of when I release my next video, would it perhaps not be best if you subscribe to my channel? Stay critical and stay humble. See you next time.